You know that feeling? When you just find a book and it, like, really connects? Like finding a new perspective or maybe just a story that sticks with you?
Absolutely.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into 5 really incredible reads. We're calling them books women will love. And honestly, they're chosen because they have these powerful stories, emotional journeys, just really captivating stuff.
Yeah. And they're not just great reads, are they?
No, exactly. They're perfect for, sparking conversations with friends, maybe your book club.
Or even just for yourself, for some deeper reflection.
Totally.
And that's sort of our mission here, right? To pull out the really key insights, the nuggets of wisdom from this curated list. Because these books, they all tackle universal themes, but from really unique angles.
Yeah.
It's a way to get those aha moments, that deep understanding without feeling overloaded.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first up, The Women by Kristin Hannah. This one is historical fiction, and it's intense.
Very powerful.
It follows Frances Frankie McGrath. She's a young nurse, comes from quite a privileged background, pretty naive, actually.
Right.
And she makes this huge decision to volunteer in Vietnam during the war.
Which was incredibly uncommon for women in her position then.
Totally. And the book just plunges you into the reality she faces, the chaos, the bravery, the immense struggles, both over there and maybe even more heartbreakingly when she comes back.
Yeah, that return home is crucial in the book.
It really is. It's fundamentally a story about sisterhood, you know, and sacrifice and just incredible strength.
And Kristin Hannah, she's just a master at pulling those emotional strings, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
But The Women, it does something else too. It really shines a light on a part of history that's been, well, largely forgotten. The role of American women, the nurses who served in Vietnam.
It's so important. Their heroism often just wasn't acknowledged.
Exactly. And Hannah doesn't just show their bravery during the war, but how society's sort of collective amnesia afterwards, that became another wound. It compounded the trauma, made coming home another kind of battle where their service was almost denied. It forces you, the reader, to think about how history itself gets written and who gets left out.
That's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
You really, it hits you. And the book doesn't shy away from the societal treatment, especially for female veterans.
No.
The impact of trauma, that long, hard road to healing, it's all there. But also, like you said, the strength they found in each other, those female friendships.
Forged in the most extreme circumstances.
Exactly. What really struck me looking at Frankie's journey was how those external barriers, that lack of recognition, affected her recovery. Do you think that still resonates today?
Oh, I think absolutely. Her struggle wasn't just internal PTSD. It was fighting against being invisible, being told her experience didn't count in the same way.
Right.
So it makes you think, doesn't it? How does this novel challenge your understanding of the Vietnam War? Maybe broadening it beyond the soldiers we usually picture. And maybe more personally, what does Frankie's journey, her specific path, tell us about the different ways people cope with just unimaginable horror, and how much does that external validation or the lack of it actually matter in healing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Deep questions to sit with. Okay, so from the literal battlefields of Vietnam,
Yeah.
we're shifting gears quite a bit.
Right.
To a different kind of fight, you could say. This one's maybe in the lab or even on a TV set.
Intriguing.
It's Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This book is just fantastic. It blends historical fiction, loads of humor, and some really sharp feminist themes.
I loved this one. So unique.
It really is. So we're in the 1950s, early 60s. We meet Elizabeth Zott. She's a chemist, brilliant, totally unconventional. But her career is just constantly blocked by the rampant sexism of the time.
Yeah.
In science, academia, everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It's palpable in the book.
Totally. Then life throws her a curveball. She becomes a single mother, kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And then even more unexpectedly, she ends up hosting this hit TV cooking show, Supper at 6.
And this is where it gets really clever, I think. Elizabeth Zott practices what you might call soft subversion.
Ooh, I like that. Soft subversion.
Yeah. She uses this seemingly traditional platform, a cooking show, right? Which was seen as purely domestic. and turns it into this radical space for teaching women about chemistry, for challenging gender roles. It's witty, it's smart, it's incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. Teaching chemistry through recipes.
Exactly, like the science behind a perfect pie crust. She definitely wasn't your typical 50s TV personality.
Not at all. And that's why you root for her so much.
Yeah.
The book really nails the themes, that sharp look at institutional sexism.
Yep.
Elizabeth's really innovative ways of pushing back against it using her show, and it explores that tension, between wanting a career, having ambition, and what society expected of women back then. Marriage, kids, staying home.
That constant push and pull.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's such a celebration of knowledge, of education as this empowering force.
It really is. It's a fantastic conversation starter, isn't it? Because Elizabeth is just so fiercely intelligent, so principled. You can't help but cheer her on.
Totally.
And this brings up a really interesting thought for you, the listener. How does Elizabeth use these unconventional methods, like the cooking show, to empower women? And maybe more importantly, what lessons from her approach, her sort of quiet defiance, are still relevant today, even when things seem more equal on the surface?
That's a great point. Are those subtle battles still being fought? Okay. Soft subversion, I'm keeping that one. All right, so from chemistry and cooking shows,
We're next.
we're jumping into the world of video games, creative partnership, and really complex friendship.
Ah, okay.
This is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow
Yeah.
by Gabrielle Zevin. It's contemporary fiction, literary fiction.
Right.
It spans decades.
And it's brilliant. Don't let the video game setting fool you if that's not your thing.
No, definitely not. At its heart, it's about this incredibly complex, long-term friendship and also a creative partnership between Samson Mazer and Sadie Green. They meet as kids, actually, in a hospital playing games. And the novel just tracks their lives, their successes, their failures, their heartbreaks, how their relationship shifts and changes as they build this huge video game empire together.
Yeah, and connecting this to the bigger picture, like you said, it's not really about video games, is it? It's about human connection.
Exactly.
It's about the intensity, the messiness of working incredibly closely with someone you care about deeply. It digs into friendship, love, ambition, what you sacrifice for your art. The characters feel so real.
They really do.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how it explores that creative process, but also the specifics of a male-female friendship that doesn't fit neatly into any boxes. How did that dynamic strike you?
That's what grabbed me most, I think. How it just unpacks the layers of a long friendship, especially between a man and a woman, without easy answers. It's raw. It shows the beauty and the difficulty of creative collaboration when there's so much personal history involved.
Right, the lines get blurred.
Totally. And themes like identity, finding your place, finding meaning through work and relationships.
Yeah.
They're all woven in so well. Plus, it looks at success and failure and how those things really shape you over a lifetime. Oh, and the structure of the novel itself is pretty unique, too. It kind of mirrors the themes.
It does, yeah. So thinking about our own connections, how does this book make you consider those blurred lines between friendship, romantic love, creative partnership? Can they coexist?
Good question.
And maybe a fun one. What is the role of play? Actual games, but also creativity as play in Sam and Sadie's lives suggest about what brings us fulfillment, especially as adults.
Oh, I like that. Play as fulfillment. Really gets you thinking. Okay, now our journey takes another turn. We're going back in time again, but this time into myth.
Okay.
We're diving into Circe by Madeline Miller. This is just a stunning mythological retelling, fantasy, literary fiction. It's got it all.
A huge favorite for many people.
Understandably. It reimagines the story of Circe, the enchantress from Homer's Odyssey, often painted as this sort of minor villain or temptress.
Right, the one who turns men into pigs.
Exactly.
Right.
But Miller gives her this incredible depth. Circe's born a nymph, kind of an outcast among the gods. She discovers she has this power, witchcraft, and gets banished to a remote island. And over centuries, literally, we see her grapple with who she is, with her power, and what it means to be a woman, essentially, in a world dominated by gods and powerful men.
And that's the key takeaway here, I think, this profound exploration of female agency, of finding your own power.
Yes.
Circe's journey from being dismissed and exiled to becoming this powerful, self-possessed figure is just incredibly empowering to read. Miller essentially reclaims Circe's narrative from centuries of, let's face it, mostly male interpretations.
Totally.
She gives her humanity, motivations, complexities. It's not just retelling a myth. It's dissecting the patriarchal structures within those myths. It's immersive, and it sparks amazing discussions about independence, loneliness, motherhood, power.
And Miller is just masterful at taking this character, Circe,
Yeah.
who was traditionally minor or villainous, and putting her right at the center. It's her story. You watch her find her strength, her identity, separate from the influence of the gods and men in her life. And those themes you mentioned, exile, loneliness, learning self-reliance, they're so potent. The way she explores motherhood, too, the sacrifices involved, it's beautiful.
And that critique of the power structures in Greek mythology itself, it's just so insightful, isn't it? It makes you rethink all those classic tales.
It absolutely does, which leads to a really critical thought for you, the listener. How does Miller's version of Circe fundamentally change your perception of her compared to the traditional myths you might know?
And maybe bigger picture. What does her story, her claiming of power, tell us about the nature of power itself, especially for women who've historically been marginalized or demonized in stories? It really makes you think about who gets to tell the story, you know?
Absolutely. What a powerful reframing. Okay, one last book to unpack, and this one is a modern phenomena.
I think I know where you're going.
You probably do. It's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's kind of historical fiction, meets contemporary, meets romance.
It's a blend.
And it has taken the reading world by storm, especially places like Book Talk.
Totally. So the setup is Evelyn Hugo, this incredibly famous, glamorous, but now very reclusive old Hollywood movie icon. She decides she's ready to tell her life story. And out of everyone, she chooses Monique Grant, who's this relatively unknown, kind of struggling magazine reporter, to write it.
The mystery starts right there. Why Monique? Exactly. And as Evelyn recounts her life, this incredibly glamorous, scandalous, sometimes heartbreaking journey through her 7 marriages, Monique starts uncovering the truth. Not just about Evelyn's hidden loves and losses, but surprisingly, about her own life, too.
And you can see why this book exploded, right? It's pure Hollywood glamour, secrets, scandals, total escapism.
Yeah.
But it's also got real depth. It gives insights into women navigating fame, public image, personal desire. Evelyn Hugo is just unforgettable, complex, flawed, makes questionable choices.
Definitely.
But utterly compelling. Her life, her loves, her ambition, they spark endless discussion. I mean, who doesn't want the inside scoop on a Hollywood legend?
Right. It feels like you're getting all the secrets. The book really digs into ambition, what people, especially women then, sacrifice for a career. And that whole idea of fame, the curated public image versus the often messy private reality. That's huge here.
Definitely.
What's also really interesting is how it portrays love and relationships in ways that aren't always conventional.
Very true.
And that connection between Evelyn and Monique, the older icon and the young reporter, how telling her story builds this bridge between them.
Yeah.
It's really touching. And underneath it all, you have these big themes: identity, sexuality, figuring out who you are, and accepting yourself.
Absolutely. It packs a lot in, but in such a page-turning way. So thinking about all that, what does Evelyn's story make you consider about fame, love, and maybe the price of living authentically or maybe inauthentically? And here's a fun one. If you personally got the chance to interview Evelyn Hugo for your own deep dive, what's the one burning question you'd ask her that maybe the book didn't fully answer? What secret are you still dying to know?
Oh, that's a great question. I have to think about that one. Wow. Oh, okay. What an incredible range of stories we've just touched on.
Quite the journey.
Yeah. We went from Kristin Hannah's The Women to Bonnie Garmus's Lessons in Chemistry, Gabrielle Zevin's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, Madeline Miller's Circe, and finally Taylor Jenkins Reid's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
5 very different books.
Very different, but as we've seen, they're not just entertainment, are they? They really are these amazing opportunities for deeper thinking, for great conversations.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with as you reflect on these. Consider how each book explores the idea of strength in women, but in really different ways across different times and situations. Is strength resilience in war, like Frankie? Is it defiance against sexism, like Elizabeth? Is it the power found in creative partnership, like Sadie? Is it reclaiming your own story, like Circe? Or maybe the courage to live truthfully, even under the spotlight, like Evelyn?
Wow.
What's the common thread of female strength, or maybe the most compelling aspect of it, that you see running through these diverse narratives?
That is such a perfect question to mull over. You could find so many answers in these pages. We really hope this deep dive has maybe sparked your interest, inspired you to pick up one of these amazing books. Go on, start your own deep dive, and share what you think. Talk about them. We think you'll find a lot to love.